them to agree percent just to you, the buyer's agent rather. So anybody want to go with ideas?
Look at me.
You don't work with buyers.
I mean, so I think I told Nick this, but while I'm doing my prospecting calls with expires, FISBOs, or whatever the case is. The people that don't want to list, I keep them and I say, but if I brought you somebody off market, is that something you'd be open to? Is creating that off market list of homes that you can sell to, you can have a buyer. Before I give you access to this, you sign a buyer's agent agreement to pay me if you like one of these houses. That's something that you can always do as well, is have that value, because no other agent has that list, just you.
Off market.
Off market list.
Yeah.
Of homes, or where would you like to live? Pick any neighborhood, your favorite neighborhoods, call, email, door knock those neighborhoods, figure out what homeowners are willing to sell a home off market. And then the buyer pays your commission on that part, or they're even willing to pay the buyer's agent commission because there's just that one.
In the case where you're calling for off market, how do you go about? So let's say I tell you I'm interested in Carpenter's Run here behind here.
Mhm.
So do you try to pare down the list of people who've owned their homes for a while or something?
Yeah, there's ways to find out who has a lot of equity, who's downside or has a, what's it called, downsizer. Like there's different ways to get that list. I use Vulcan 7. You guys, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's very easy to narrow down the specifics of that. And then it gives you their phone number, all the phone numbers, I think it's like 80% correct. And then you have a lot of email addresses, obviously the mailers, even if you have a specific set of buyers that are looking at that neighborhood, that's golden. Because then you send out drop a voicemail, go knock on the doors, call them, and then you actually can send mailers too. We specifically have somebody interested in buying a property in this neighborhood. And then not only do you pick up more listings that way, you also can have a buyer that is willing to pay you because you're finding him a home that's not even on the market.
Thank you. That's a huge value from.
That's my 2 cents. I don't work with buyers.
But if you did.
That's just what I did for one of the buyers I had. They wanted a villa in Live Oak. And the ones that were on the market, when we went to put in an offer, it was already under contract. And Live Oak villas, there's not many, so it wasn't turning quickly. So we just got the numbers and we called them and we found a couple, that were interested in selling.
And did you get one?
Yeah, but then the buyers.
But now you have those relationships with those
But yeah,
sellers.
I do have. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, and it already it already gained trust with those sellers because, you did have a buyer and all of that, so you didn't come as I want to list your house or anything like that. You were already like adding value. And even some of them didn't even want to sell now, but are thinking for in the future and they're already, you already have them in your database. So
That's huge.
good.
So off-market lists not only puts value to buyers, but it puts you in line to possibly get listings.
Yeah, because you already have something to talk to them about.
That's what I use it for, is for the listing opportunity. You can also use that. That's value to a buyer.
But another thing. Josh?
We need you, Josh.
Turn the recorder off.
No, it's good. I'm just wondering, can we sort the list of leads that we have? So let's say Austin has, no, not Austin, bad example. Let's say Memphis has a buyer, because Austin doesn't work with buyers, basically. But let's say Memphis has a buyer that's interested in Live Oak. Can we sort buyers that have come in to our system that we're not even necessarily in contact with? Because sometimes we get leads that aren't responsive and we put them in long-term nurture. But can we find the people that are interested in a 4-bedroom, can we sort based on what the buyer is looking for? That we can actually have an off-market list of buyers?
In a way, if the agent puts in like what their requirements are, like they want a 4-bedroom.
would be bad.
So
They would have to list the file as 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And
No,
that's what we put them all into.
I'm talking the reverse. What I want is, I want the buyers in Lofty that are looking for 4-bedroom, 2 baths. So that if he has a seller, he has a list of buyers in waiting.
Yes, as long as the buyers or the agent says, this client wants a 4-bedroom, 2 bath.
Doesn't the,
We can type in 4-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 2 bath. and they will
don't the
come.
leads generate their own queries?
Yes, and then after you call, then you ask what they want, and then you go in and say what you say.
But maybe we can deliver a list of buyers in waiting also, and we can reverse prospect on listings. So off market, properties and buyers in waiting. 2 tools to use with the opposite. Fine.
Yeah, because the way I look at it is, if the sellers are now saying, if they do, we don't wanna pay a buyer. Let's say they say that. They're agreeing to pay a listing agent, but if they're off market and they're gonna pay a listing agent. And you end up finding a buyer off market, they're gonna pay, you can say you're the buyer's agent, then they're gonna pay a buyer's agent. Because they're willing to pay one side of it regardless.
They're saving money on
They're
those.
saving our money regardless, so if you can deliver them a buyer off market, you don't have to worry about listing it. And then, anything like that, and all these people are no competition. It's not like you have agents calling them all the time, it's not a business. It's just home. That
Yeah.
don't get a ton of calls, so.
It's already an advantage to your buyer as well, because since there's no competition, you can offer less. Not necessarily if you're sending a seller.
And you don't pay for photos and you don't pay for this.
So today, I'm recapping since people have come in, we're
You
gonna
still have to state. you
Yeah.
know, Your
represent.
agency,
Yeah.
single transaction, well, you have to be transaction, but,
Yeah.
non-occupancy, are you giving non-occupancy or non, I'm sorry, I did not get any sleep.
I haven't either.
So.
And I'm short.
You still have to, if you're representing both, you
Yeah.
have to have.
Yeah.
I mean, all the legality stuff would still be included, but yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
So,
Isn't there also a form for a non-MLS listing? Dude,
There's a box.
I thought there was a form as well. That said like
are you talking about the buyer waiver?
no, it's,
Seller's waiver agreement,
huh?
the seller's waiver,
Well,
where they don't.
I mean,
put
it's
it on
seller
the-
waiver.
where they
That's on
sign.
the contract that you're talking
Yeah,
about,
well,
but isn't there a
yeah.
specific?
But there
document
is
for
a separate document
In
for
the
that, I
listing
believe there's
contract, you
a
can-
waiver of MLS
Yeah.
entry.
an off-market
Mhm.
listing
When you're
contract.
listing contract, you can put off market, like it won't be advertised.
It is
in
in the
MLS.
listing,
Yeah, it is that.
yes.
But then
But
you
there's a
can't
separate
market
document.
it.
Oh, and I'm thinking of
Yeah.
exclusion, an MLS.
Exclusion,
Oh,
yeah, that's what you're thinking of,
Yeah.
yeah,
The seller.
because they're doing repairs or.
Yeah, or they don't wanna put it on the market, you wanna market it to just your buyer. That will
You
be-
market it to your buyer, well,
Well, we weren't able to
technically, you're
do,
not allowed to market it
but
to your
now why
buyers.
can't you with this
You
whole
can.
change in
Yeah.
the commission structure,
It
the whole
might
thing
be.
was that. You couldn't do that because they didn't want you double ending it, all right, because everybody was supposedly double ending if they kept it off market.
Like a.
Okay,
like a
that-
pocket listing you're talking
That
about?
wasn't clear cooperation,
Right.
that's what they
That's not
considered it,
clear cooperation.
Now you
consider
can
it
say
not-
there's no
no.
buyer's agent.
because last year we were forced to put. A dollar amount in that box, now we're being told, no, we can't put that
There's
in.
no box.
There's no box anymore,
No advertising.
okay, no box, so why can't we? Is that
Because
rule
it's
gonna
still not
change?
clear cooperation. Clear cooperation is gonna be redefined as
Yeah,
listing agents put their homes on the market for buyers agents to know that home's for sale. So that more buyers have the opportunity to see it and the sellers get their property exposed to more buyers so that they can get the true price instead of, oh, I've got to, or I'm gonna buy it, Debbie, don't put it on the market, give it to me for 100,000 instead of putting it on the market, letting it go for 120. No, we're not allowed not to list unless the seller agrees that the only people we can promote the house to are other agents inside the brokerage.
What if we have no representation with the seller? And they just give us agreement that we can market the property? Because that's like a new build, you can market those and you don't have representation.
Well, then you don't have an exclusive right of sale agreement, you can't put it in.
That's
the
okay,
MLS.
nobody else knows about it, it's just you,
Okay,
and then you don't
you can do
release,
that.
you don't release the address until the buyer has signed. any kind of some.
So you don't have a listing, you have no obligation, it's an open-ended offer from the seller and anybody else can walk in and sell that.
It's like new, I love that, it's like new construction.
Right, so I'm saying.
You're just showing up, hey, I'm like here, West Chapel, new construction, and then you see the beautiful.
But
room,
before you
you're
give
seeing
the
pool,
address.
and nobody knows where that, half the time I don't even know where these new construction buildings
Right.
are, and I'm a realtor,
Right.
you know?
Nobody's gonna know, especially if they're not listed, if they're not
Yeah.
at Bisbo or Inspired, there's
You
no.
just see it, you guys are doing it all the time, I'm like, hey, where's that? people?
Wait
I
till,
have no
wait
idea
till you
where
have to
that
go into Two Rivers and
And he
figure
does
it
it.
out. The building
No,
is
you're
over there.
Even when you're like, we're here at West
Yeah,
Chapel.
12 of them
still
over
can't
there.
find that road. you know,
Yeah,
'cause it's new.
well, that's the point.
Yeah.
I think the list needs
Yeah,
to have a
sure.
couple good feature
Yeah.
photos,
Exactly.
the area, not the address. And before you release that address, they have to sign a buyer's agent agreement.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where this conversation is headed and where the settlement
We're
is going to
starting our
go.
own MLS.
And what the MLS might do. By the way, that is an option because this settlement is for realtors.
Yeah.
And every realtor is being released from liability.
You're not saying that, I know we're tied with Realty One Group. We're a realtor, it's like,
No, I'm just saying that it's not obvious that we're not going to get Realty One Group, Berkshire Hathaway, Century 21. Berkshire, I mentioned Berkshire, the large,
California.
there's no saying that we're not all going to quit the Realtors Association
that's what someone.
and become a different group.
that's the first thing I thought of, I
Well-
just hate that word.
There's lots more complications than you can imagine.
Yeah.
More.
So we're focused on a couple of dollars here and there. The National Realtors Association is keeping us in business with lobbying. They're providing us RPR. They're providing us so much stuff behind the scenes. If we were to list out what value they bring to us, you would understand their value. But they're also breaking our back by putting potentially the buyer commission, the buyer agent commission outside the transaction, so Fred can't finance it. Although he's gonna work to see if he can get second mortgage financing for that. But tell him your recommendation, it was your idea, which sometimes all ideas aren't obvious, but had we thought it through, maybe it is obvious, tell him your suggestion about how to get your buyer brokerage buyer fee financed.
Similar to seller credits, right? So if you have a house that's for 250 and the guy wants 10 grand, then also the house is 260. You kind of do something similar to that with the purchase price renegotiation. Would be my,
Now, do you have to disclose what that's for?
No.
On that, you do or no?
Okay, so this is where it's like three in my opinion, and so back home in Arizona, which is where all my experience is, we had our buyer broker, we had our value proposition that we presented to every buyer. And then we had a buyer broker at 3% that every single one of our buyers signed. And no matter what the sellers were offering, we work for 3%. And so we would tell our clients, like, so, you know, the ways that we can get paid here are if they're offering 2% and we work for 3%, we're gonna make that very clear when you love this property. And then the option is, the first one is we negotiated into the contract, we asked the sellers to pay it. But when we did, we had to disclose that 1% in addition to, seller inspections or whatever that we were asking for, was to fulfill our buyer broker agreement.
You put it in as buyer
And then-
agency fees. You
Yeah.
put it in that
Yeah.
paragraph in the additional
Right, additional
comments.
terms, and then we had to include
Yep.
our buyer broker in it.
Because that was going straight to you from the seller, this is going from them to the buyer, then.
It's around the
So my
lender.
question is, I guess, so in this case, so we would not have to disclose it, is that what you're saying?
Well, you
Your
don't-
thought about that?
I don't disclose whatever fees the realty offices charge.
But would we be allowed to
Still get
disclose
paid
it?
on
I
it.
feel like
Still
we
can put it on there.
pay,
So,
and we can even
Yeah.
round it in, right? So we can.
well, that's a way to check it out.
1% in addition to whatever we would have written the contract at.
So, yeah, because the doors haven't been checked about how we could get finance in there, that's just one idea I had when I was sitting with it. To put in the contract, I'm not sure about all your disclosures and whatnot, that's kind of the real estate side of things.
Right.
But it's, I compare it to the broker fee. whatever age, like
Mhm.
brokerage charges $3.95. I
Right,
have one in Virginia charges $6.95, it says his name, I got it, you know, I know that's coming. I don't always disclose it because I forget.
Mhm.
And then it comes in through Tyler going, hey, no, here's my paperwork and here is my fees that I charge for using this brokerage firm. whatever it is.
when I
I'm
found
thinking
out,
it's kind of similar, it could be the similar way, albeit a lot of money.
sure,
That's under $1,000, but I would imagine that's gonna come out. So we've had notification from FHA, they're checking it right now. See what's gonna happen. You know, we all know first time home buyers are the ones gonna be the biggest hit, right? Because they have no money.
Yeah.
We're not trying to figure a way to make money. Amongst the mortgage side of things, we talked, you know, amongst our peers, just like you all do, and. You know, is the, if I'm a seller and I say to my listing agent, I'm not paying a buyer, the agent. So I know you have fiduciary responsibility to show my property. But you can sell my house or you can sell the one next door, that's paying the buyer's agency. So I think you're gonna see some of that. You know, the mortgage industry went through this huge change 7, 8, 10 years ago. Not the same, but similar. How we get paid, we can't get paid on different products or programs, it's straight up, we had a new disclosure guidelines that we had to deal with. All sorts of stuff, and it took a second, but now it's business as usual, we don't even remember the good old days. You know, but we can just charge you.
So in the contract, when it said for closing costs instead, isn't there a section that says et cetera? Like closing costs, prepaids and et cetera, can't we just be et cetera?
You could be, yes, I'm saying, so.
Because, okay, you're not paying the buyer's agent, but you're gonna pay the buyers, that's to the
Correct.
closing costs, and they're gonna.
What Fred is saying is that $400,000 house,
Oh, to be in.
that you can negotiate it verbally. $400,000 and then write the contract up for 12.
Yeah.
so the biggest issue there then was
Right.
appraisal, right?
Yeah,
But-
that's the biggest issue, is making the appraisal.
But that's gonna get hung up a lot,
Yes,
where it comes in at 4 and they're like, okay, now what do I do? And then you're
Yeah.
the buyer's agent, you're like, oh.
yeah,
And we're waiting
I guess
for
they're
the
getting cut out.
appraisal.
After you've
lobby
gone
to
3
speak up.
weeks into the transaction, you know,
The appraisal lobby hadn't made any comments on this yet.
cause that happens with closing
But-
cost assistants all the time, when they're like, I'll give you the 3%, and it comes in report, it's the report, well, and they're like, I'm not paying your closing costs. dude."
They don't know what the commissions
Alright.
are,
That's not their.
Okay.
unless they put it in after the sale, unless they are allowed to
If
put
it's
it
in the
in.
contract, they'll know.
Well, they'll know, yes, but down the road,
It should be in the contract.
so if you-
But-
Supposed to negotiate.
Yeah, you're not supposed to negotiate inside the contract. You have to negotiate outside the contract. The realtors are not held to the contract, although that might change.
That's right. now.
And I envision the following, so let's change the thinking a little bit. Maybe with your offer, you have to submit your buyer broker agreement.
I'm thinking
As a
that's
piece of
probably
it.
the case.
But go back to the value of the home. If you have that $400,000 house that's listed on the market for $400,000. And your buyer is willing to pay you $12,000 plus the $400,000. So your buyer is acquiring the house for $412,000. Isn't that the value of the home?
If it's appraised.
Well, I understand the appraisers have to catch up with us. But the appraiser has to go with what the people are paying.
Yeah.
And if they're paying an extra $12,000 to acquire the home, that's the value.
Well, I think that it's gonna be a discussion with the sellers too, right? Because you're gonna have to sit down and you're gonna have to say, look, your home is only worth $400,000. My clients are fully and totally willing to offer you $412,000 on this house. But if it does not appraise, we can either, meet in the middle. Yeah, we have to renegotiate. If my buyers are fully gonna have to pay my commission, then we're offering you less, like, under that $400,000 to incorporate some of that in there so they can afford to pay me.
Yeah.
Because their cash on hand is only X amount of dollars.
Lots of things are gonna change. Is this your list?
It is, yeah, so that's.
So do you wanna go over it?
No.
Like they could say no, and they said they were gonna come down.
So we always,
No.
we always did.
Wait, let's take a quick time. Can I?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go around the room. There's some new faces. Let's introduce short little, short file. And then everybody will know everybody, and then we're gonna dig in. Vicky?
Bio?
Sure.
Vicky Mitchell, I've been here since, what, 4 years? I think it's been going on 4 years now. So, and a little bit about me, let's see, I've got 2 of my kids, and I am with a great guy. So, and together we have 5 kids, he's got 3. So I went through a terrible divorce, you know, it was always fun. So back in the day, anyway, got a dog and that's why I was up all night. She got her foot and bleeding all over the place. So it was lovely.
You do a lot of fix and flips.
Yes, I fix and flip. So, and I have rentals, Airbnbs, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So, folks, you know, we get all these texts from people saying if you have any fix and flips, give them to us. Before you go outside, ask Nikki, she might buy. And anybody else who's a buyer in the room can also chime in as we
I am
go.
a cash buyer, so.
Okay?
I have a good, that's just, I don't put some cash too. I always look for something.
Denny,
I came from California a long time ago, and I've been married 30 years, I have 2 kids. And I did lending in California back in the time, it was 24, 25. And, you know, it's just about me. And then how much do I sell? I always tell people, you know, I sell enough for me. Do I know? Sometimes I pretend that I don't know anything, that way people don't ask me questions.
That's what the lady said. That's my training 101.
I get it done.
if you remember the detective Columbo, he's our Columbo.
Hi, I'm Menfi. I also have a blended family. I have 2 kids and my husband has 6, so we have 4. I came from New York and I was a teacher when I first arrived. I've been with Realty One 5 years. I went to another Realty One and then I came back to Dara. But I mean, I know that here, I'm more like a buyer's agent. First time home buyers especially, so this is really affecting
Big
me.
time.
Mhm.
It might affect the listing agents, you don't know.
Yeah, it will. I'm
Say-
sure it will, because at the end of the day, we have to negotiate with the listing agent, and if the listing agent is not paying, well, not the listing agent, but if the seller is not paying the commission, then what do I do, you know?
Just a correction before we move on. The seller never pays.
Always the buyer.
Always the buyer brings the money to the table. So whether you call this glass half empty or half full, it's the same thing.
I'm Jake. Half of the Panda Group, we just moved here from Arizona. We've both been agents for years back there with Realty One Group. When we moved here, we found this Realty One Group. Loved Dara, loved the whole group, and so we are figuring everything out as new agents here, because back home, we were referral agents. We both grew up and lived in a town for 30 years, and now we know nobody, so.
So I'm Veronica, I've been in the industry for 10 years. And yeah, just 7 months here so far. We have 3 kids. Figuring out how to run a business, not on referrals.
In the back, lady,
Yeah.
introduce yourself, profile.
Hi, we'll start here. I'm Lady Gonzalez. I have been with Realty One for 2 years, 2.5 years. I have a baby, a dog, Pekingese. I'm from Cuba. Where else?
Okay, that's fine.
I'm Juani, has 2 daughters. I stayed here 1 year. I'm travel planner for 10 years. Let's see.
What's up, everyone? I'm Eddie. I got 4 monsters from 13 to 2. I've been doing real estate. I think this is my 3rd year I'm starting, and we have a team here with 3 of us so far. We plan to grow to 4, hopefully sooner than later. And yeah, that's it.
Hi again, I'm Gisela. I just started this week. I am really excited. I have 3 kids. I've been in Tampa since I was 10, but I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I'm really excited to start, rushing,
What's your name?
Gisela.
You just sell your home.
That's your email, yes.
So perfect. Now you owe us the royalties.
Selling your Tampa home.
Someone when you have it, it's great.
You nailed it.
Where's my slogan? I'm Nick Rice, I'm from Tampa, and I love working in real estate, and hopefully I get one of these houses I sell one day.
Any other?
But you have a slogan too.
Oh, yeah, I haven't really put that out there, and we don't know how to do it, but Dara came up with it for the best price, call Nick Rice. I don't wanna get sued, like, you said it's the best price, we didn't get the best price.
So for the best price, use Nick Rice for the best price if applicable.
If applicable.
Next would be Leslie. Short bio, introduce yourself, so everybody gets to know you.
Hi, I'm Beth Reyes. Okay, I've been doing real estate for over 15 years, 2006. And I kind of have some gap in between because of some circumstances in the family. So I found Dara, he's my previous connect before. And now I am trying to go back and do real estate. And I'm in ethnicity, I'm from the Philippines. And I initially do IT jobs in DC. I was part of that, what do you call that? Y2K, so you know my age right now. Y2K thingy, and I was one of the expats hired from the Philippines and came here to do some projects. And the rest is history. I got married in DC and moved here because of my husband's job. And I got the dreams of real estate in 2006 and I got licensed and I just love it. I have the mission to help people right now and to collaborate with agents in anything I can do.
But I need to interrupt and you can say, sorry, and tell you all, it sounds like she's just getting back into real estate. She sold millions since she just got back into real estate. So she's doing great. So.
Me? Okay. My name is Ola, originally from the Middle East. I'm doing this for real estate for the last 7 years. I moved from Jordan actually 7 years ago. So since I moved down here, I decided to go with real estate, never changed my broker, start with Dara. I've been with Dara and I don't think I'll change Dara.
Thank you, but everybody needs to know, she attended every single class. She had perfect attendance. When our classes were in St. Petersburg, she was driving from Wesley Chapel to St. Petersburg every week. A year before she even got her license.
Yes.
She was attending every class.
That's good. And I enjoy working with the new constructions. VIP with DR Horton, you can get for donation in this, right? So, and yes, I really enjoy working also with buyers more than sellers. I don't know why. I love it. I enjoy it, even if I'm, traveling. Yes. That's it.
So here's a question. If somebody else had never sold a DR Horton home, can they partner with you and you run it through your experience with them and get the extra percent and somehow reward that agent?
Yes, of course.
She would have to go with them the first time they go to see the house.
And actually, my buyers get $1,000 extra from DR Horton because they are with me and I'm VIP with them.
But at the same
So
time,
the
if you
buyer
do
also
that,
gets
she gets the
some-
credit.
I know, she gets the credit.
They
Yeah.
don't get the credit.
They don't get the credit.
They don't get
So
Right, they almost thought
to
they
become VIP, you have to sell 3 in a year.
Or-
4 in a year. So if you don't have a chance of doing 4 in the year, work with
If it's like December, you know.
Yeah.
first.
Right, and you get 4% from the day you close 4 deals until the next year, so maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And
So
then
it restarts.
it start again after a year, yes. But I'm working on that because I already have 5 deals for this year, so hopefully next year I'll be, if nothing changes.
Maybe you can say, can you count the fifth one for next year?
Yes, yes.
So you
Well,
want
actually,
to-
you would think even the third one, you get 3%, but also you get 1,500 bonus.
Right.
And then another 15 for the fourth.
Yeah, do you
And then
like-
you
I think
get
after the
4%.
second one, you get 1,000, wasn't it?
1,000,
Yeah,
yes,
1,000.
yeah,
But that's on
I
one
did
year, right?
two a couple of years ago.
After a
It
year.
does, yeah.
But they're really good bonuses.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's,
So technically, you don't have to be present with them, just so you know. If you register them online, so and they just happen to go in there.
Right.
Then remember, anytime you register online with new construction, the online rep is getting a percentage. So, and it trickles down, so it behooves them to actually, just so you know, FYI, every time I get a client, everybody. All.
can we get the phone book and just start going down the A's
Yeah,
and
you just,
registering
you
them?
just start calling the online.
Just in case one of
The only one.
just in case somebody, one of the people in that big phone book shows up, you can credit it all.
The only one that does not answer is the phone.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Leslie Knox. I've been in real estate for 2 years now. I am married with 4 children and I have a 1-year-old, 2 cats. I have a garden. I like to grow all organic food in my free time. I make our products, our toothpaste, everything natural.
Gosh.
Yeah, I love real estate. I love being here with Dara and that's it.
I'm gonna keep waiting, I'm gonna keep going down and then I'll circle.
Rest easy.
Oh, yeah. This is how you like.
Hello, everybody. A lot of you know me, Kamal Abdel Suarez, I'm multicultural. I was born in Venezuela, Venezuelan mother, Palestinian father. I speak Arabic, English, Spanish. I've been in real estate since 2016. I joined Dara in January of 2018. I like to do a little bit of commercial deals here and there, whatever I can get my hands on really, because that's really the reason why I joined Dara, his expertise in the commercial field. I am married, second wife. I got 3.9 kids. My 4th is like past her due date and she's not here yet. We're waiting.
Wait, I want you to keep going,
Yeah.
but I want you to be able to speak German also, no, let's have you speaking French.
Okay.
Well, I'm almost done with what I was saying, so my intro's done. You can speak German. But yeah, that's me. Speak German. I don't speak German.
It's not German.
I was just.
It's not speaking. Why didn't you speak it? Well, the phone's now translated live.
He's been trying to sell me on this phone forever.
I'm Debbie Belusi,
For that parking. Hey, guys.
I didn't even see you, but by the time I got there, I'm like.
I'm Debbie Belusi. I
When
am
you
a
pull the-
repeat here at Realty One Group.
I thought you were like one of those workers. I'm like, what are you even doing here? Come on. Let's get over there.
They took my parking.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
You sure?
You know.
I'm a repeater here at, all right, be quiet now. It's my 3rd time, all right?
We know.
Shit here, but come on, I didn't do it to you. I haven't done it to anybody, that's rude. I'm a repeater here. I've been here back and forth 3 times. I started out, I've been in real estate since 2010. I started up in New York. I was a paralegal up there, married 40 years with 2 adult children and 3 grandbabies, 1 new grandbaby. But I was here with a partner. Some of you know I had a partner. We were here for a while. Then we left. We opened our own brokerage, and the beginning of the year last year, we parted ways. So I came back to Dara And Dara took me back and I was here for a while, sold a couple houses last year, and then I really wanted to be on a team. I wanted to join a team. I was a team leader. So I went over to Keller Williams. Big mistake. Big mistake. It was excuse my language, it was a cluster. You know what comes after that.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
which one?
It was terrible. So I was there for 3 months. I saw the writing on the wall, right up the road here. Keller Williams Tampa Properties.
Okay.
Katrina Madewell was my team leader. I'm gonna mention names.
She could-
It was a clusterfuck, okay?
I could see you and Katrina kind of.
No,
Button heads.
there was no onboarding. There was nothing. It was just a mess, okay? It was a mess. If I'm gonna sit there and give you 70% of my income,
Wow.
you need to do something for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, you
Alright.
don't realize how good you have
You
it.
don't need to be going and sitting at open houses and calling leads that are 2 years old. I've had my license for 14 years, okay? I know what I'm doing.
Wow.
It was a mess, okay? My mistake was I didn't investigate it enough before I got pushed to signing in the papers.
Welcome back
Well,
for the third time.
That happened in December and I groveled. I came back to Dara, I drove myself up the block, cause the office is right there, and I came back and I sat here and I went, take me back, please. So I came back to Realty One.
She came back with conditions. We don't just take this back.
Well, we gotta have it.
I know, I gotta clean it, you know, I'm the office cleaner now, I come in, I know.
I did notice that you're doing a lot better job.
Hey, we're having a little bit of fun, right?
Also, a lot of, just with this whole NAR thing, I was professionally coached for 8 years with Craig Proctor. I don't know who's heard. You guys sound like you are from Craig Proctor because of just some of the things that you've said, your value proposition and all that. All that stuff I learned. I have always gotten a buyer agency agreement. As long as I've been working with buyers, for me, it's nothing to get a buyer agency agreement.
You
I
call
am
me.
Totally entertained
That's right.
by all the stuff on social media, people freaking out. It's just, I sit there and watch it and I laugh because there will be a lot of people dropping out because they don't know how to get that buyer agreement. They don't know how to show their value. What Austin said was right on the money. I mean, off-market properties, that's one of the things that when we used to make our phone calls, that was one of the things we offered. Would you like to receive a list of properties that match your exact criteria? Our list includes property foreclosure and other, all kinds of off-market properties that you can't readily find yourself. Well, right away, somebody hears that and they're like, oh, what am I missing out on? And that's what they think. And like I said, Austin hit it right on the head with that off-market properties. That's your value proposition. You can add other things to that. You can give them a free home warranty and add other things like that. But communication guarantee, that's another one. Offer them a communication guarantee. One of the biggest downfalls and one of the biggest complaints you're going to hear from buyers and sellers. My agent took my listing, I never hear from them. Tell them, I'm gonna call you once a week on Friday. I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna tell you if nothing's going on, we're gonna talk about the weather. If I don't call you, guess what? I'm gonna give you $100 every time I miss that deadline. Offer them that. That's another value proposition. You can go in there with your buyers and say, I'm gonna, every time a new property hits the market, or if I see, I'm gonna call you every other day, or whatever it is that you set up with that buyer. Do it, adhere to it, and offer them something that if you don't adhere to it, you're gonna pay. I'm gonna give you $100 for every time I don't do that. And then, like, no other agent's doing that. No one's gonna pay me because they didn't give me a call. Just think, little things like that you could do for free or very inexpensive to show your value. Because there's gonna be so many of us out there trying to stick that piece of paper in front of everybody's face.
Not so many, but everybody. has
But
to do it.
there's gonna be everybody out there. What makes you different from you? Why should I work with you instead of Austin? what are you gonna, what's in it for me? They all listen, everybody listens to the same radio station, WIFM, what's in it for me? All right, and that's what they wanna know. Oh, that's just my 2 cents. I know I went a little bit longer. But I'm not doing as much real estate anymore, cause my Voldemort.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my ex-partner, Voldemort. Yes, that's, Dara and I had decided that was he who shall not be mentioned. He was the one who had the finances. I'm the people person. So I don't have the finances to do the marketing that I need to do, so I'm just kind of working off of referrals and. I have a couple investors that I'm working with, that are hot, so if anybody has off-market fix or flips, please let me know. Because they're like ready to go.
Are they BlackRock?
Are they what?
BlackRock Associated?
No.
All right, Nick, did you? Yeah, then memorable.
So my name's Wade. I've been with Zara for 2 months now.
Probably closer to 4.
February, it's the beginning of February anyway. I'm a widower, and that's all I'm going to say for now.
You're what?
A widower.
Recent.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you for that.
And what kind of background do you have?
I've been in real estate since 2008, got out for a little while because we could pay bills with the situation at the time. Re-entered about 3-4 years ago.
Liliana?
Hi guys, my name is Liliana. I am Cuban, but I lived in Kentucky. I moved here it's gonna be 2 years in May. I've been a real estate agent for about a year with Dara. I'm in the Gibbs group. My background, I have associate in paralegal studies and I worked as a paralegal in real estate. And that's where I kind of moved into the real estate field. So far, I've kind of been doing buyers and then here and there I do like for sale by owners. So it's pretty much about me. And I have a 4-year-old daughter.
Before I go to Ala, we have a couple of people on the call here. You want to go? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi everyone, Diana Louise. I joined Realty One, I think it was in January. Come from the IT world. Got my license about last May. Actually started getting deals since I joined Realty One. I was with EXP before. I'm really grateful that Lee brought me in and that I met Dara and Eddie, and things are going good for me. I got a 3-year-old right here. Join with us, and besides real estate and I love photography. That's kind of like my hobby. But
What's your
glad to be
boy's
here.
name?
Fabio.
Oh, yeah.
That's Fabio. He's going to be on women.
He's so cute.
Hey, Alex, is that you on?
No, that's.
Oh, that's you? Okay, Kimberly, you want to say hi?
I don't think it's there.
Ella?
My name is Alla, ALLA, You can read from left to right, or from right to left, doesn't matter, it's gonna be Alla. You will never forget my name anymore. And also, if you put my name on the form, and you will say, looking for in the market, you will be calling me all the time, because it starts with A. So, originally, I'm from Ukraine to here. Husband is Italian, how are you? Since last 50 years of last year, still very happy. Especially happy working with you guys, because I went through several real estate. I never ever saw so many beautiful, professional, wonderful, incredible people all together in one company. It's an honor and privilege working with you, especially with Dara,
because he is so helpful and he always positive. So I'm enjoying being with you and if I can help anything anywhere, so just give me hope. And thank you for being here.
Before we go to the last person, I want to make a comment that I didn't have Josh introduce himself. You want to wave? Because everybody knows Josh. Right? Oh, you.
Alex.
Alex is, sorry, he had an out of country buyer with his industrial operations. So he has an industrial brokerage, and so people have flown in from Germany and they're looking at industrial properties in Orlando. He tried to get it changed, but he couldn't. This was kind of sprung on us when Austin suggested it. Thank you, Austin. So introduce yourself and then I'll have.
So Austin's my name. I have been with Dara for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
About 2 years.
In May.
Huh?
In May, 2 years.
May, yeah, May would be 2 years. I love it here. I don't have any plans on leaving, but yeah, I don't have any family or anything.
But people are calling you, aren't they?
But brokerages?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to make a comment. First, I'll call out Austin. 2 years ago, when he came here in May, he came with his computer in my room and he told me what he was going to do. And, it was ambitious. I thought it was ambitious, but he had a great presentation. And May of 2 years ago was when you had a property come on Thursday. It was under contract before the open house on Saturday. It was already under contract. At best, it got under contract Sunday because the selling agent kept receiving offers, didn't close it down. And selling agents got 100 offers on a property and over list price. At that time, by July, he had 14 active listings. Okay, so he is the top producer here, but I want to make that comment in correct context. Everyone in this room is important. It doesn't matter if you haven't sold a property or if you've sold $19 million of property. You all matter to us equally. And I appreciate all of you. And there were a few compliments going around the room. I appreciate those. Not necessary. I'm here to serve you guys. And if you don't take advantage of meetdara.com and book time with me, whatever, I will help anyone any way I can. I'm continually getting new information. I'm on the razor's edge, aware to the best of anybody's knowledge of what's going on with the buyer brokerage agreements and with what NAR is doing and the national lawsuits and the fact that Realty One Group has 3 lawsuits against it. All of them do, okay, and that's not being released because Realty One Group is one of the larger brokerages selling over $5 billion a year, or 2 billion, I think, is the threshold. But in any case, all of you guys have been released. All realtors are released with the settlement once it goes into effect, so that's a good thing. I'm going to be giving everybody a list. It's printed here behind me of some of the things that we do for buyers so that you can develop your own value proposition. But I don't want to release a big list and shut down other people offering ideas and suggestions, because already going around the room, I've added 3 more things to add to my list. Okay, so one purpose for today is to come up with ideas of how we're going to deal with buyers going forward after July 1st, if that's the implementation date. And the other purpose, equally important, maybe even more important, is for people who are successful. I'm pointing to a couple, and there's more around the room, to share ideas of what's working. So we all can benefit, because this is give back time. Okay, thank you all for coming on short notice to this meeting. I'd like to do this again. I was going to say in 6 months, but maybe we need to do it sooner than that because of the changes on July 1st.
I think in July, we should do
Yeah.
a meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if not sooner.
I think once this goes into effect in 3 months, yeah.
June?
So, yeah, I mean,
Every
we
other
need
month,
to be,
maybe.
we need to be prepared for this,
Yeah.
and guys, we need
The
to be
newsletters
looking
and
at what
everything.
everybody else is
July
saying out
first
there right
Tuesday,
now.
yeah.
No, that's just the
There's a
broker.
lot of coaches out there that are
Okay,
doing
first
seminars,
Tuesday of the
some
month.
top coaches, Tom Ferry.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
A
I
lot
told you I
of
was in Craig
coaches.
Proctor, they're reaching out to me again.
Yeah, right.
I last week got text message from one of the people there, and they're telling me how things have changed and everything, and
Right.
I just took,
Well, it's a lot.
I
of
took a
money.
step back, I
Coaches
said,
is
no,
involved.
I'm not getting involved here.
But we need, they're offering free, Zoom seminars, so you might as well take advantage of this if they're free and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right, we need to,
Bring
kind
the
of
knowledge.
know, like, we can't call another brokerage and say, what are you guys doing? That's illegal. But-
Well, we can,
But-
if we're not price fixing, we can.
Yeah,
That's true, so, but we need to be watching and seeing what everybody else is gonna be doing. One of the things that is coming down the pipeline is a lot of people are putting a box on the buyer's agreement. So, and it's gonna be like X, check this box if you want me to show you properties that do not pay a buyer's compensation.
oh,
So, okay, so that way.
they are aware
That's-
that they're gonna have to pay the compensation.
Right, so there's a box, so I love it, I love that, so that means if you call the listing agent and they're not, paying a buyer's agent fee, then you can say, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to show this
I
property
think in
because
the-
my buyer can't afford it.
I think in the beginning, you're gonna have some pushback. We're gonna have pushback from buyers that are not gonna wanna sign the agreement. Okay, they're gonna say, I'm not signing it because. I would say 9 out of 10 realtors don't use those agreements, okay?
Well, right now, but.
Right now, but when it
They-
changes
they-
over, the thing is, buyers are not educated. Okay,
Correct.
they're not educated, they don't know that they're gonna have to now sign this agreement. So they're gonna come in here and they're gonna sit down and, well, I'm not signing that, well,
It's
guess what, they're
all-
gonna go next door, they're gonna go to the next place. And they're gonna be put, same thing's gonna be put in front of their face.
Yeah.
So that's why the value proposition is so
No,
important.
I totally agree, but on the other respect, what I kind of like about this, it is the law. We have to have that
Yes,
sign.
yes.
Before I can show you
Yes,
a
I
property.
love it, I love it, I think it's
So-
They're
great.
gonna want, they're gonna want to sign non-exclusive ones, because those are still.
Not an agency, so, but then you're not.
That should come with a deposit though. That's for deposit that you get back to them, and if they walk away from you.
Let them pay
So
the fee up front.
If you get an escrow deposit, that's called an advance fee. Advance fees must be put into escrow, must be properly
You
accounted
can
for.
get your
Kamal
transaction fee
came
up
up
front.
with an idea, which I've implemented in the document I'm gonna release to you, and that's a retainer fee. And it's earned, non-applicable to the commission and non-refundable, not pro rata. For
Yeah.
fee for services, and then you will see out, I'm gonna share with you a document that lists some services with the price, for example, $50 a showing. But Debbie raised her hand.
I'm sorry, I was in a training with Martinez Law. And she was talking about what you just said regarding the open house stuff. She said that agreement can be for 1 hour for one home.
Yeah.
We're gonna see modification of the open houses. If you buy this home, by the time I'm gonna have, you're gonna pay me the commission. That'll be something new that we're not used to it. That she said we can do it that way. With the VA buyer, she doesn't know it. That's something questionable.
It's
Because
gonna
the
have to
VA,
change.
that has to be changed. So our agreement, buyer's agreement, we're gonna see a lot of modification that the bar are working on.
So I am hearing now, I don't know if this is correct, but I'm hearing from a lot of attorneys out there that there's gonna be a box, a concession box, a seller concession box. So stating what the seller is willing to pay.
Rather than the additional terms where you used to put it into that, okay,
Correct.
okay.
So, at least if we have that, and then also the products, so if they are accepting VA and there's a seller concession box, then more than likely they're paying a buyer's agent.
Well, not only that, but on the MLS, they're switching the buyer compensation for a seller concession. So now you're gonna be able to put in what the seller is offering.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
They're gonna put in an seller's concession.
That's one of the
commission.
things. That's one of the
Oh.
things they're changing. When you're looking at the listing on the MLS, instead of you being able to see what they're paying you, you're gonna see what they're offering the buyer.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
And that's gonna be your fee.
Yeah.
So like
So
say
it's
seller
gonna be-
concessions,
right.
2%.
Seller concessions, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be a dollar amount, but I don't know.
How can it be a dollar?
Higher.
It's gonna be hard to be a dollar.
But the buyer would have to agree to give that concession to you.
Right, cause if it's.
Well,
that's
you
the
have to
con-
have
That's gonna be on your buyer's agreement.
That's on your buyer's agreement where you.
Yeah, you have on your buyer.
Yeah.
But
You
now,
know, you're gonna.
That's
they're gonna
like-
say,
I'm
"That's
thinking
your
great."
buyer's clothing costs.
Exactly.
So here's a question, okay.
So I just wanna comment, so let's say, like, I have a seller who's offering 2%, right? And then you have a buyer, and your buyer agreement says,
You need 2% towards the
So I
buyer's
give
agent.
you 2% and they still have to pay you 1% about it.
Correct, yeah, so they have to come up. with
So,
a-
and the reverse. Let's say your buyer agreement says 2%, but the seller was willing to pay 3%. You're only gonna get paid 2%.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out.
Now, what if you have, what if you have 300?
I'll give you like 5 contracts.
And can you say, I'll accept it?
3%.
Yeah.
You can't have an open-ended, you would.
You can accept less, can't you?
You can accept less, but you can't make a decision.
Well, it's interesting because I think you're gonna have to turn your buyer agreements in with the contract. I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
How it was.
Which,
We
to
should
me,
do, Demi used to have the single agency and I would submit it
Well,
off, I'm like,
single
I'm
agency.
getting that single agency.
yeah, a single agency form is different, but.
We used to have to, with it, when we did it, we used to have to actually send an instruction sheet to the title company. Because the title company would go ballistic.
Right.
When that money was not going towards their quote closing costs. It was going as a buyer agency fee, which was laid out there, but the title company would be like, ooh, what do we do? So we'd have to have a whole form that was signed by the buyer saying, this is what's going towards closing costs, this is what's going towards going back to the buyer agency, because 3% has not been across the board for a long time. I mean, we've been getting 2%, so we've been getting that extra 1% or 0.5% or whatever it is from the buyer. The title company needs to know that. Obviously, that's something that's gonna change because the title company told them to be spelled out. But I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to accept less.
I think our contracts are changing, so
Yeah,
they
they
have
have
to
to
have like a
change.
box.
They have
you
to
know,
Basically,
I know, I know you cannot put into the,
So we used to put 3.5%.
it's okay.
Why
I know
don't we
you-
accept 2.5?
I know you can't put into the agreement that you will accept whatever the seller pays. So if you put into the agreement 3% and you whisper to the buyer, if the seller only pays 2%, I'll agree to that, but less than 2%, you're gonna have to make it. I think that violates the spirit of the agreement. So I don't think that.
Because we used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
we
but
would
it
do-
wasn't required by law. Now we're talking about.
Starting before we write our contract, so before we send out our contract for acceptance to
Offer.
our buyer, before we even send out the offer packet. It had to be separate from the offer packet, right, because otherwise it looked like we were being slimy, because we were hiding it within all
Right.
those documents, they were just gonna go through and click. We would send out a new buyer broker, and I would tell my client, like, I know that I asked for 3% from you, they're only offering 2%. They're not willing to come up, and you know what, I really want you to have this house. So I will lower my commission to that 2%, I'm gonna send you a new buyer broker, exclusive employment agreement. And you're gonna sign that with that lower percent, and then we'll write the offer, right? And I feel like that would be done to.
That can be done.
Yeah.
So if you're offering,
From those people are.
Oh, absolutely.
Then they're like,
Oh, yeah.
agent dropped their 1%.
That 1% is
just
gonna
so I
make
can get
you
this house.
so much more.
And all their neighbors know.
That's what I was saying.
I do that.
We have it,
Yeah.
it's our business.
yeah, so but the same can be done in reverse, right? If your exclusive employment agreement is only for 2% and they're offering a 3%.
Why
If
can't
you
you?
served your
Change it.
buyers well enough and you tell
They
them, look,
probably
they're
let you have
offering 3%, what do you think about us changing my exclusive
Yeah.
employment agreement with you to that 3%? You've been a good agent, they're gonna, 20 properties, you know, they're gonna be like, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
It might just look better to start higher.
Especially if you've already built that relationship with that customer. Client, so.
Let me bring you all up to date as to what to expect. We have pizza being delivered in a little while. There is a 1 o'clock update, legal update from Realty One Group. So we'll stream it, okay? So Alex Mihal will be on there giving us an update. I like the idea of meeting in July. I would have thought May maybe, but July is closer to implementation. A little bit.
Or the end of June.
Sorry, June,
The end of June,
in the middle of June, so that we can get the latest updates before implementation. If you all are in agreement, we'll have Josh schedule something and let everybody know. But can I ask Veronica to give us a few of your value propositions?
Okay, so I do have to say that this is, the value proposition that I have is within a path. With my buyers, again, our services, we offer different than other agents. That is who we are, that is what we do. We hand hold, we love on our people. That is just, we take time. So we're not a turn and burn kind of team. Like, we would rather have value. Because we found that we get higher clients doing it that way. So I do not take buyers out unless I have sat down with them for an hour and gone through a buyer packet with them, which is one that I put together. And it starts with an introduction of us. It goes through our skills because we have very different personalities.
Complete opposites.
Complete opposites, and we offer completely different things. So depending on the client, we'll kind of determine who takes lead with that client, and what their needs and wants are. And then next, we have a bunch of reviews from past clients, a bunch of testimonials, and then we dive into this. So at that point, we talk about what we offer to them. And like I said, I go over what I said before. They're sitting across from me, and I have this huge packet in front of them with way too much information in it. Because I have found that overeducating is way more valuable than undereducating. So I essentially tell them we're just gonna go through this really quickly over an hour. And then you get to take it home and it's great to reading. So have fun with that. And this page comes just before our buyer broker exclusive employment agreement that's already filled out. I filled it out before they paid me. It doesn't look like it here, it's kind of messy because I had to copy and paste it from my document.
This is, no, just one.
But it essentially, the way that I have it in my packet is it's pretty fine print. Because we have our logo at the top, we have other information at the bottom, so this is fine print. So the probability that they're gonna go through and read it line for line is very low. So what I do is I turn it around and I put it in front of them and I say, look, what we do for you, the gist of it is this. We are here for you day and night, before, during, and long after the real estate transaction. Our goal is to fully educate you on this, the biggest transaction of your life. And then I go through and I kind of skip some, but essentially, I tell them about how, we're writing a contract for you, legally binding contract, and it is super, super crucial. You have someone representing you that knows the contract beginning to end. And the Arizona contract, I used to be able to pull it line for line because that is me. I love contract law, that's my thing. And so I would tell them, you know, we win for our buyers 9 times out of 10 because the other agent across the table has never read through the purchase contract. And so I'm able to get you more money because of that. And then when we do get in a hairy situation, because every real estate transaction has a hairy situation, I know which route to go. And so we draft all of your offers, we keep everyone on track, and I flip a few pages in my book, and there are contacts for lenders and title agencies, and I explain how, although I like to take control of the transaction, there are other parties that are super crucial to the transaction, and it's my job to ensure that they're staying on track through the transaction. And that's super, super important because, I mean, as a real estate agent, you guys know that one faulty person can take and extend that timeline or cost your client money. Anyway, so that's essentially what this is. It just goes over all of that. It talks about how I put them in contact with the right people. I follow up, make sure that their timelines are followed. I negotiate everything. I make sure that we're checking all routes because a real estate transaction from A to C can be kind of, rocky, and there's a million different ways to get there. And you want to make sure that we're getting there in the best way possible for you, not for the guy next to you. That's good. Yeah. And then we go through the rest of the packet and I tell them, I'm like, you don't have to sign this in this very exact moment. But we are gonna have to have this signed. So I want you to go home. I want you to read through it. No pressure to sign it right now, but I am gonna send you a virtual copy to sign it while we go out and look at properties. And if you have any questions between now and then, why I would work best with you, let me know. Like, if we need to sit down again, grab some coffee, like, I'm here for it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Two plugs. First, we do have a buyer presentation package with the things we do for buyers. And inside that presentation package is the current Florida approved exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, along with the single agency disclosure, the transition to transaction and the transaction agent disclosure, along with a needs assessment where the buyer will list out the things they have to have in the transactions, the things they'd like to, and the things they want to. I envision a new buyer presentation book, which they'll probably run you about $3.5 a piece to print. Our print shop is just about to come online. By the way, we do have a real estate school now, just another shameless plug. But here's a plug for Realty One Group. Veronica, we have an app within our tools that Realty One Group provides to you guys.
Oh, I don't mind. Is it 12 or is it?
I'm losing the room. I'm losing the room. We have an app within the Realty One Group system, which is called Live Easy. And Live Easy will help you with the move. So there's one of the things you do during the transaction. Okay, is there's structure, there's all the resources you need for the move. And then after the move, they will market on your behalf to the buyers, maybe essentially forever, as long as they have those email addresses. So there will be branded marketing to your past buyers or things that they can do to maintain their home, things that they should do to maintain their home. They can get from the serial numbers of their appliances by taking pictures. They can get owner's manuals. So there's a lot of things that in the agreement or in the list I'm going to give you guys shortly. I've included that, the Live Easy product, which is something that you really should be informing your buyers to be aware of and use, because they're going to get their own platform provided to them for free on Live Easy. So that's something that costs you nothing. And it's just a great tool to keep marketing you after the transaction top of mind. So, yeah.
Say one more thing. I did want to say that, although this is like our value proposition, like something that I learned at the beginning of starting my real estate career is you have to hone into what you are good at, you.
Yeah.
Just because somebody else is good at all of those things does not mean that you'll be good at all of those things. And so you want to make sure your value proposition is who you are and what you are good at. Like genuinely, like dig deep and figure out what those things are, because people love to see it and they love to hear who you are and what you personally are good at.
Perfect. I have a list. Vicky helped me. But
Tom Ferry's list, by the way, I found out.
Was it Tom Ferry's list?
Yeah,
So
the 90 items, you saw that?
Yeah.
So I've taken Tom Ferry's ideas and reworded most of them.
Yeah.
And deleted many of them. And added another 30 items to the list.
Okay.
Today I heard another 5 useful items to incorporate into the list. So I'm going to share that with you guys in 1 second. I just want to hear in the room if there's anybody else.
I want to share. We take a 5-minute break. Pizza's here, drinks.
Pizza's here?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just share?
Yeah.
One thing, in addition to what Veronica.
Well, this is great. Unbelievable.
What Veronica offered, a lot of that was all in our buyer agreement. Same thing, we would go through and tell them, talk about our home hunter service, talk about, financing, how we would, get them the best financing, competent vendors and all that stuff, but a couple of value propositions, one that I brought up was about the communication guarantee. I'm just gonna read directly from what the buyer agreement that we use. Buyer will be kept posted on the progress of the purchase of their property with regular updates. Buyer's phone calls will be returned by a qualified brokerage team member, which is you, within 24 hours. If broker fails to and I always would tell my clients, it doesn't take me 24 hours to get back to you. Usually if I'm in a meeting, after the meeting, I'll go out and call you. I'm not gonna wait till the next day to call you, but just let me know. Within 24 hours, you'll hear back from me. If broker fails to return buyer's call within 24 hours, buyer will receive $100. This is my favorite. Bonus one, buyer will receive our written buyer satisfaction guarantee. If you are not satisfied with your home purchase within the next 24 months, we will sell it for free. In other words, you buy your house and you hate it, okay? You hate your neighbors, you hate the neighborhood, whatever, you come back, you call me 2 years. I'm gonna come in, I'm not gonna charge you any
That's
commission.
a great one. I see Eddie making a note.
That's an awesome proposition. People are like, really?
So how do you do it?
You don't charge them commission. You go in, you sell the house and you don't charge them commission. That's it.
They're not gonna call you, it won't happen, so.
It can't happen. It's
They're gonna wanna wait that.
Conditions, number one, if you got a sinkhole, I'm not buying that, I'm not gonna sell it. If you got a job transfer, you put your conditions in, that's why your conditions are.
So is it because of capital gain? If they make any money?
2 years is what they need to be in a house for before you sell a house, okay? If you want them, 2 years, you have to be in the house, but if you don't like your house in 2 years, call me up, I'm not gonna charge you commission.
I feel like you would win more buyers. That then you're gonna do the freaking, like you'll have more wins.
Yeah, when you tell them that, they're like, really? Nobody's ever told me that. They'll buy, they'll sell. So that's a great one, you guys can all use. The other thing we used to do.
Let's get the.
The other thing we used to do is, I don't know if anybody else does this, we did offer, for first responders, military, 10%. 10% back on commission, so if I'm making $12,000, I'm gonna give you $1,200 back at closing. All right, so that's another thing you can offer to your military, your first responders and stuff like that.
I have a quick question and see if anyone has any ideas. What are you doing about brokerage buyer, or what are your thoughts about doing with broker buyer agreements? If they're out of state and you can't sit down and have that one-on-one conversation about it. I guess, that's the easy answer.
So on the back, these had buyer's agreements, so when I came out here, I was like, what is going on? Nobody does a buyer's agreement, this is crazy, I want a realtor that works for me. Okay, I want single agency. So, and I had a hard time finding a realtor who would actually sign a single agency form with me. I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy.
Hey.
So, anyhow, so I'm just gonna put that out there, but, on the West Coast, what they do is they send the buyer's agreement to sign before you even meet with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I was gonna say, if you could, I don't feel like a welcome to Tampa box with like some of your presentations, something they get in the mail, and then when they do the Zoom. They have all the stuff in front of them.
Yeah. Same
It
kind,
was
same
more
kind.
it's more
There's not welcome email or something.
Well, after
Maybe
you're
not
done
welcoming.
through your value proposition, you can always say, like, is there anything on here that like, I didn't like specifically say that I'm offering that like would make your real estate transaction better for you? What is it that I can add to this for you? And we always had like blank forms that I could fill out, and I spent a half an hour talking and they spent a half an hour talking, because even just pretending and doodling, like they want to know I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Anybody else have any other ideas? Okay, I'm gonna share with you this document. But let me tell you that there's an option in paragraph 4 of the buyer brokerage agreement that Kamal suggested. Go. Yeah. Well, some of you may not want to offer it. Okay, so what I'm suggesting we do is that we will give everybody a PDF file of this when it's complete,
Okay.
that you can use it. But if you want to change it, come back to Josh and let us update and take out what you don't want. And let us give you one that you want to use. Okay? What I don't want is everyone to be making changes and we have 150 different versions out there. And it could be a liability nightmare for me. Okay? So whatever you end up with, we will retain in your profile.
One thing I wanted to add is this whole, thing may very well lower our commissions, okay, as buyers agents. Let's be honest with each other here, okay? A lot of us deal with first time home buyers who, they barely can come up with down payments and all that. But since they're signing this agreement and they're gonna be on the hook for some kind of payment, you can also, break it down into services so that you don't waste your time. Yeah, maybe you're gonna take a loss. If you're gonna be a buyer's agent, you might take a hit on your commission, but maybe your time could be more efficient. So that's why
So let me give you the overview of what this says, so you understand it. So he's suggesting that he rolls with, and I disagree with the amounts, but that's up to each person. That he rolls with two options for the buyer. One is, let's just say 3% or 4. I'm good. 4% to represent them in the traditional way. Okay, and I have a list. And I'm not kidding. I told you there's more to be added, but there's 121 items that I think thought you did before we came here, and there's more. And it actually says this is a partial list. So 121 items. Some of these items you may not want to do. Okay, I'll give you my favorite one, which is after the closing. You're going to help them file for their portability.
Yeah.
And you're going to save them thousands of dollars with their taxes. And I'll teach each and every one of you what that means.
Yeah, that was huge.
We've already had a class.
Very huge.
Can I ask you a question?
No, yes.
Can you do that? Do you have to do that right away? Because I just found out about this, and do you have to do that right away?
I'll tell you the law. Here's the law. You have 3 years, including the current year.
Okay. I'm almost 2 years in my house. I could do it.
So what portability means is if she had a house that was taxed at $500,000, but the value went up and it became worth $800,000, that I'll get technical too. So she buys another house and it doesn't have to be in the same county, and she doesn't have to buy another house. She can move out of that house and homestead another house and rent that first house out. But if it was taxed at 500 and it was worth 800, I use the word worth as determined by the property appraiser for the house that she's filing in the new county. He may look at the sale price and say, you sold it for 800, but I think it's only worth 790. Okay, but setting that aside, let's just say there's a $300,000 gap. That 300,000 will go on the new house and lower the taxes by $300,000 from what it's worth at the time she bought the new house. So $300,000 at 2.4%, 2.3% is a lot of money. The maximum you can afford is $500,000, okay? So I will guess that anybody in this room who sold a house between 22, 23, and even the beginning of 24 has customers that made a lot of money on their house, and every one of them that you go back to and help them with portability, you're going to not only be kind of somebody they might refer, they're going to start looking for clients to tell them what you did for them. You know, if you save me $6,000 a year, I'm there for you. And that lives with them forever, and they can port again from that house somewhere else and keep that base. Okay, so that's an example of something you do after the transaction. Okay, but if you don't want to do portability, we'll call into Josh and say, take portability out. I don't want to do that. I don't wanna be responsible for doing that, et cetera, right? So remember, you're kind of telling them you might be doing most of these things in here. So let me hand this around.
You want to take a 5-minute break? While you do that?
Yeah, we'll take the 5-minute break. There's pizza. And then let's get back. We have a 1 o'clock call coming with Realty One Group. Oh.
We still have another hour to go over the other stuff.
Yeah.
Let me get up.
Things we're doing to.
Well, just everybody, send them on.
Like a 2-page file, we'll bring it to a 6-page.
We have a let's see, and we have a let's see. You're right.
Let's see, and Leslie, and Paula, and Abby.
Ola who's not Spanish and Ala who's not. At least. There was a. Isn't that interesting? Ola who's not
Well, by time.
They want to come up.
Yeah.
We have to put this down here.
Definitely buying.
Yeah, there.
Oh, great.
You know, Bob Rock out here. Bob Rock.
Listening.
And you can do. So
You
what I
come
did.
up like, hey, you're not.
Very, very good. So I have any property.
Work with you and with that, I told you, go ahead and sign that. Get started more than
That was on the market for 30 days.
Oh, no, wait, I don't wanna do a
Single family.
I don't wanna do more work. It's
Very, very.
getting sued, so if I got listing, I wow, you can bring buyer
And then I did where I ended up property.
Seller, dude.
At least 200,000.
That's.
And single family, not manufactured.
Yeah, I found one.
Got a land here, next, so yeah, I did a 5-year training.
It's the first number on it, and maybe first and second. And I, but I'm gonna say, bond recognition, there's like almost 500. No, I
But
copy
you know what I'm
this,
saying?
my
If I
download
require
this
you-
from the property, you can get it from this box, you don't have to get that as another one.
Huh?
All this stuff, I'll favor, I'll show you how.
I think you're gonna go. to
Yeah.
Seller.
Those
Legal fees on it.
It's the whole time.
Yeah.
What I did
You
was.
want me to run it? Cool, sign out.
In there, and I
Work
worked
with
it
it, see.
myself.
We can do that.
Like, hey.
Oh,
And if you people have already stopped me. Then. That's why. People that can overwhelm their. And so.
My seller,
They
already got me free.
Hey, no, I was version here, I'm really sorry about it, even though it's possible. But the reason for my call actually is that recently I. Any sense of things, and you know, that have reached out and squeezed a bit. Because recently there's been a lot of it, you don't say specific. You don't. You may. Because recently, words that have got multiple offers, and I said, and so. If there's because we're not campaigns or slight campaigns, they want to consider, you know, selling. We should be this now, if they bring fire now, you're not. Yeah, we're not, you can call back, yeah, it's like, if you have. Okay, so that's the conversation. You know, like, also, basically, I'm gonna do it's that. I'm sorry, family, yeah, make something work. We put it on the internet. And I'm like, I hope you can respect that. That's what I ended. I have
And it's like, do we wanna give it to a million people?
Well, I haven't called,
One thing I need to
I've had.
even my son was, yeah, I mean, that's.
On it, I've had.
Yeah.
Like your text messages, I talked to farmers, and they go, you know, they want to sell. This is what you gotta do. I want to stay in touch with you, sure, here's my email, like, pipeline, boom, boom, leaves it, and then I had one, multiple actually, that says, I called you.
Still.
And,
So I had to go.
Look, I'm asking, respect that, and they're like,
We gotta.
I want to, well, we got two properties, two real. We, delivered that.
Those.
Literally told me. to come next.
3 million, and once you get 2, and once you get
And
3.
it took me.
So you want 100%, it's another 3.
They're gonna have to.
So.
It's great website and an app.
I'm renting.
For what?
That voicemail drop, I called January 1st and March 1st, expired, dropped them all in there. I picked up 4 solid leads, 3 listings from it since yesterday. Yesterday.
It's there like 4 o'clock.
Yes, Nick was there.
I was watching him, I was watching him, he was like writing the script, writing the script. And he did it, and then he's like, all right, send it out, and we'll see.
And I sent them screenshots of the text I got. Hey, we'd like to talk about listing your home.
Hanging down. That's good. There's so much business out there, you just gotta knock on the door and ask for it, metaphorically or whatever you want, literally knock on the doors and ask. But that's what Austin was doing, he's just literally shooting basketballs, every time intended. Shooting 100 and 2 of them are going in, like, how'd you get another 2 listings? Like, he just shot 100 shots.
Well, the thing is, the reason I checked with people requires no cold calling whatsoever.
Yeah.
No, what?
No cold calling whatsoever.
What if you got it, call them, see if you can help them.
No, I'm saying, what I just shared with her, what I'm gonna share with you guys, I picked up 3 listings since yesterday and it probably no cold call.
On a program that he launched yesterday.
And I launched it yesterday. I've got listing appointments set up already. Other ones have said, hey, we're gonna do it in about 3 or 4 months, please stay in touch with us. But it was something that they came to me. And it was very specifically mentioned, so.
Well, he went to them.
Wait, what is it called again?
Well, yeah,
And then I looked at it, I was like, you were fishing, you threw a big cast net out there.
Yeah, but he didn't call them individually.
No.
The system do it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What's it called? Slide.
Is it through texting? Like, you have, I always wanna say children, but me, text them or send?
I will say, it did cost $40, so if I'm gonna do that $40. Yeah.
He's like, it did cost 4,000.
$40, it cost $40. Yeah. That's it.
It's.
See, that's the thing, I don't know how to find, every time I done it, it comes up with no number, it's like.
They're the same thing, but with phone bills on. And I shared that with Nick. On the listing, it doesn't have to be yours. And I'm telling her this because she's about to leave, but.
Yeah, I gotta leave too. I gotta get out of here, so I'm like,
I'm
listening to
this thing recently, wherever you wanna work. That's went pending recently, right? So either pending, it didn't go pending in a couple of days, it's a multiple offers, or you know. And they would call me. Tell them about the buy of the house, where you actually say the address that we as agents have, under contract, whatever, multiple buyers in this home. They're ready, willing, and able, this is something you can slightly consider selling. Or show back, it's good, we have their fire, and it's got on this home, whenever they want to specifically be. And I mean, I know you've heard the strategy, but the way you implement it with the slide broadcast, goes directly to them, have the number and everything. They'll call you.
don't you have to be careful with the voice last so as far as the PNC and you're not callers?
No, you're not soliciting. You're not soliciting at all. You're telling them about it. You're not trying to sell them on it or anything like that.
I mean, when I first started, coming from New York and coming down here and not having anybody, I used to do door hangers. In my neighborhood.
Door hangers are what's called canvassing.
Well, I gotta tell you something, I got a couple listings from it, but I got in trouble because I had one lady in the neighborhood started chasing me. I said, no, I'm not listening. I said, I'm not knocking on people's doors, I'm not asking them for anything, I'm just giving them information.
Yeah.
I said, this is information. It's advertising.
So when I do.
They actually got it.
When I do it like that, so they can kind of online. When I put that number in, so that's where they need to come back to. If I get people like, don't care about that, don't use your own number.
Right.
Use an hour, your voice, and you, I mean, I'm telling you, within an hour, you're gonna have call and call, you're calling that.
I gotta learn more about you.
I get my list of all I said, you can also order a full from Remon, Remon's another one. I mean, there's cheaper versions of Vulcan setting, you can just get the list from, but that, I think is phenomenal. I'm being really. Life right now is very.
That's such a good thing.
It's not that I'm getting so much. I'm not.
What
Flying to Paris, getting on a river cruise, sailing from Germany to Switzerland, ending up in Zurich.
Are you going to go?
You're going on a cruise?
Are you going to go to the show? Are you going to go to the
That's
show?
where I'm at.
Normandy, no?
Sorry,
We were there for 2 years. I asked you, what strategy?
How are you?
So.
Been good?
Not as good as you are, but I'm trying. You are.
I'm dying.
Come on, there's trouble.
Yeah, it is.
Where's it
So what I think.
Italy, Greece, Croatia. Have to be paid by the 14th, and they could be paid, so. I'll cancel it.
Under $1,000 cruises in the Mediterranean.
Are you going to Greece?
No, we're going from Paris on a Viking River cruise to Zurich.
We have, money up the top of the it's in a lawsuit now. One person was supposed to buy it. And then they got that, they never question. Somebody else went into contract. What's the sketch? Well, the people who are now suing my husband and them because the stock is selling the property, but they pulled it.
I don't really have like.
But they never came to fruition. It's a big mess. I haven't seen it before, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But this is going on since legal system. If I didn't went, before the judge February 1st, which way?
We will start.
They also help you with affordability. It's a little bit.
I can still do it. Reduce my tax.
It's so straightforward.
I know the tax guy told me, but I don't understand how it works. So I lived in my other house for 10 years. I sold my house 2022.
What price did you sell it for?
I sold it for $715.
And what was the assessment?
During that time.
At the time, it was low. It was definitely low. It was probably 4 or 5, maybe 6. So then, so say, okay, so that's different.
We have same old homes. How much the property can raise the tax.
So that difference can reduce my current tax.
That difference between the assessment and the value at the time of sale can be transferred to lower the assessment on your current house.
Okay. That's right, so is there a form that you have to fill out? Okay, I'm gonna look into it, find out what I have to do.
Have to be filed conjunction with or after you file for homestead on the new house.
Okay, no, that's already done. I'm almost 2 years in it. It'll be 2 years next month.
Years.
Okay.
The current year and the previous.
Okay, So I'm good, so I moved in 2022.
And you didn't have to sell that house. You could have rented it out.
And that explains the whole thing, I'm gonna go. $4 million. Right. I sold my house in 2020. That's a 300.
Current value.
Okay. Oh, you want that? Thank you. Portability. Portability is the ultimate thing. It's Dean.
Right, thanks, David.
You're right. It's a thought and-
OLUSI.
Yeah, I think that's a great. right now.
Oh, that's right. I do now. Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You look like you. Perfect. Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, like I said, a little bit on my taxes and then also talk to my neighbors about it and give them the information, you know, because I got a lot of them don't know about it. Oh. Where I live, like 4,000. I look at my neighbors, my next door neighbor's house is like 12,000. I'm gonna go.
300,000, 6,000, 1,000, 2,000. Downsize or upsize?
What's that?
Downsize or upsize?
Sideways. About the same size, our house. It was, yeah, about the same size. But new construction I bought. I went from an older home to a new construction.
So where do you live now?
I'm in Wesley Chapel now. I was in Odessa.
Oh, that's.
Went from Odessa to Wesley Chapel. So we were lucky. We bought our house in 2000.
I just sold one in Odessa.
I,
Fiscal.
okay, I lived in Ivy Lake Estates.
Okay.
And Ivy Lake Estates right off of 54 and Sunday. Right up there. We bought our house.
Sold for service, something like
We
that.
bought our house in 2012. Paid $290. We sold it 2 years ago for $715.
Wow.
30,000. We bought a little bit, like, paid a little bit less for our house.
Yeah.
I know.
Good talking to you.
Yeah.
So much. Right, can you mind what?
Have a great trip.
Let's call the people. Everyone come back.
Yeah, that's what I.
You're not alone.
When I do that, I'm trying to figure out what feels to me.
Yep.
How are you? Doing well, nice to see you.
Yeah, finally put that under water.
Transition away from fires. Yeah. Fires are just pickles. Yeah, you're really gonna cut it down. I have jumped on fires. All of a sudden, they start ghosting me.
That is time consuming and all that stuff. I made it, that's a lot of years, I've been thinking all years. That's why in this. I had to get in.
Yeah, you saw me, I'll do those.
Well, I want to,
And then talk to Dora and
I'll talk to Dara about it.
I think I had one.
Well, I'm sure that I feel like out of the business, last year is like, okay, it's my house. Really getting pretty. Because
My players are nice enough. It's something. I'll put a couple of flowers on.
Flyers.
And we're gonna be more likely to burn it done if they were.
You can send us a good break.
There's. Meeting him and all that kind of stuff, so. I think that's not long.
I mean, I could give you, she could give you her username, but then you're in. I do stand next to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are flyers in the one design studio for dual agent and lender. Ask Josh.
Or you can tell me you.
Ask Josh.
But I like the service. The 1%.
Yeah, you just got, they didn't have to write it out.
I did a call in one of the listings. I'll copy it, you know, the 1% fee.
When you're buying down, yeah, when you're buying down. My cost.
I can go through one of these, I think, just copy it, please, right?
I think I have it, I need to put it in the other ones, but I have it in one of my.
He offers it to the list, on the listing side, if the buyer uses it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what one's.
no, that's what I'm
Yeah.
going to do with the
Listing?
listing, I'm working on it.
I just don't know the verbiage you put it in my last.
Yeah, I think it's, there's, we discussed it one time, I'll go back and look what I used, but it's basically, you have to say in there that like through AFN mortgage, there's, you know, they're offering, well, we say we're offering through AFN mortgage, a 1% rate buy out for any buyer. That no cost to the buyer, and then it says, you know, please contact for further details. You don't wanna get too much of it, because then it's boardroom, you're not gonna read all, it's just this, you have to say AFN, and you have to say it's 1% buy out, that no raise.
There's no cost.
That's it. I'm putting it in the public.
So we're allowed.
Yes, as long as you have to say like, speak or call or whatever, contact for more details. You technically can't say, you can't say call, I've got flag for that, just say contact for details on that, and then. That's in there.
Yes. We don't like, I can see if I can get a bit different from Martin. So then when you like it, do that. So that's why you like it. The market probably big trade.
We speak a lot of Spanish about. Are there?
So one you buy, they'll have a trade. On your little.
Austin is about to share.
Well, sure.
So wait, on this one,
I was gonna tell you.
about selling.
No, today not.
No?
That's what I focus on. Today's a little, I have a couple of cool things that are working, so, but I don't hear from
Why
everybody.
don't
I
you
don't
send me
know.
something, and then I'll send it to him.
Okay, yeah. It might be embarrassed.
Excuse me? Well, he had like 25,000, 3 years ago. And then he went crazy.
You're like, I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to call me.
Like, personality. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. I really.
That's so funny.
Okay. Yes.
I didn't want you.
I'm not saying, or like. what-
Emmanuel. No. He's Venezuelan. So I call him back.
Funds, I'm doing two loans with him, one of them. Yeah, so he actually got me and his wife. And one's like, with the borrower, so I can't figure out what the game, what meaning say.
Don't do that. You know, translate.
Everybody, we're very short on time, so I need to take the room. I'm gonna give Fred just a second to introduce himself. Austin's gonna share some killer ideas for helping you guys get more business, and anybody else will go around the room. Fred?
Oh. So thank you, Dara. I've been with Dara for like 4 months. I think, once I kind of transitioned over here. I am with the American Financial Network, or AFN Mortgage, whatever you guys want to call me. I have been in the mortgage industry for 30 some odd years. Married for 38 years, have 3 boys. Older,
He's good.
All 3 of them graduated from Florida schools, 2 Florida State and the 1 US. Two live in Richmond and 1 lives in St. Petersburg. So 2 of them went back home where we came from, and then my middle son's down here. I live in Clearwater. So I come out anytime you guys need to come out and meet anybody, or if you prefer to meet in Safety Harbor or Clearwater Mall, where I met Austin, that's even better. It's a little bit closer. And I will come out here just if you have to cancel, give me an hour's notice, so I'm not halfway here and turning around, Leslie.
Oh.
She called you out.
That's fine.
I'm gonna be this.
That's gonna be a mark.
I like that, man. So we offer
Do it again.
full menu of products and programs, just like any other lender. We do everything except for construction or farm. I have access to not only in-house products, which are the other non-QM products, the bank statement loans are really easy to do. The DSCR loans is in-house. We call them ICF, investor cash flow loans. If you have investors, that's a breeze. I mean, I'm doing 3 of them right now for the same client that I did 2 of them 2 months ago. And it's just very, very simple to get those loans done if you've ever have ever done one. And then anything outside of the norm, I do have the ability to broker. So I could go out and try to find stuff. What I'm brokering them at their guidelines. So I know Austin had 71 that I just couldn't do a fix and flip because of the credit score. I'll search around anybody that we have approved to see what the best program I could fit or fit into something, right? Especially with the way the market is, when the buyers pick them up, we want to try to get them as quick as we can. The rates suck, right? They're supposed to come down March, and they didn't.
Yeah, they were.
Now they're talking June, and half of the country.
75%.
Oh, God, no, I'm not even, I wish.
That's what they're saying.
Oh, I wish, I hope it is.
They're saying right now.
We're expecting 3 rate drops this year, June, September, and then right after the election. It is an election year, so please vote, because the election year does switch around what it'll look like come January or November 7th or 8th, when on election day is.
And please vote down taxes.
Who's your vote for?
What?
Please vote down, vote.
So, but the, the rates, we do, since we are in a partnership with Zara, we do have some leeway on helping your clients with rates and price, so, I will do everything I possibly can. In fact, every loan I close, I call Zara before I even lock it. And we have a discussion, how you want me to kind of handle this, and we have to talk it through, and then I get the client on the phone and sell whatever we kind of agreed to. I've done loans, so thank you for those that have referred me. That way I've got 1 or 2 from you. We've closed loans in the building, thank goodness. So we do have testimonials. I've done some for Austin. I got 2 for Antoine that are getting ready to wrap. One's closing tomorrow with Antoine, and I have another one at the end of the month. So the business is there, we're getting it. I know you referred me a couple of folks. So use me. We're looking for a local, I am local, I do run this kind of concept we're doing. So my time is very Limited.
Whether it's limited or not, you're not gonna let any of them.
No, you will know it, but, you know, so my point there is that we're trying to find someone that can sit in this office all week. And I can work at it here, so we do with our 24/7 basically, so that you'd always have someone here. So that you needed to meet, they could be an hello here, you don't have to really schedule me to come in and start diving. You should actually just show up, that'd be probably doing.
Mama bear, mama bear.
Why
don't you
I'm
Great, don't, you don't want to.
I know, it's the needs, I know, I gotta get the needs on the phone, save you hover.
Yeah, I live close to
I
you.
know, easier, I can get there.
Fall off, don't make sure.
No. I'll get aside. But anyway, my cards are all in the office, my flyers are all around, Josh has a way to get a hold of me anytime he wants. So, again, I'm just happy to be here and be able to excited to help you guys as we keep growing this thing. So far so good, I appreciate it, we've been doing pretty well, for the launch, so. I look forward to work with each and every one of you more closely.
And this is our hopes of being able to keep our fees locked in.
Oh, no, what's that rate today?
Because we're gonna learn about you guys, the rates are the seven.
Seven.
Mid sevens.
If you have
No, I think
perfect
so,
credit.
so it's every client's different, so I have a loan that I locked at what was it, 675? Or no, 675 plus 2 points. And it's a $1.1 million loan. So it's amazing. So we have ways to figure loans out. And like I said, I am very, I don't hide in my little corner and try to figure it out myself. If I need help, I'm gonna call you guys. And I engage my real estate partners, I always have. Especially first time home, how we gonna kind of put this together. Because a lot of times I'll be looking at some going, we do it, and then you guys look at it, and go, what about this? Because you all know different parts, like I do, I know more about your clients, you know a lot about your clients too, that they don't tell me. Then they'll tell me something I can tell you. So when we kind of collaborate, we kind of come up with a solution, 9 times out of 10, we can get a solution done, we get the deal done. Everybody's goal is to close it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what.
My goal is not to decline a loan, my goal is not to, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. It's either, to me, it's black and white, we're gonna be able to do it or not gonna be able to do it. We don't drag it out, right? So we don't sit on the files waiting. We will sit on certain ones because I need to get documentation from the buyers. Right, the buyers, because sometimes they're close and I need them to give me stuff.
I mean, that's not, sitting on it, that's.
No, but that's kind of
Yeah,
getting
that's
that, and then
fair.
I'll engage.
So
you
we
back.
have a few on hold because they haven't supplied
Right.
documents.
And then I'll also do, if you call me, it's like, oh, that's what I need a letter, like right now, I'll get you a letter. I'll do that too, if you need to do that. I prefer to have the information from the borrower, but even if I get partial information from a borrower, I can toss a letter out, so you guys know that they do qualify. So again, you guys would know.
But it's
more
not
about it.
verifiable.
You're telling me that it is verifiable, but I'll do it to try to get it. And I don't do it for everybody, so it's not like I'm just out there wrote letters everywhere, because. If you have somebody like, oh my God, I gotta get you offer and I need a letter, every.
Pre-approval,
Pre-approval letter, pre-approval letter, it's really good pre-approval letter.
Oh, okay.
But I just need the name and address of the clients, and I can just talk to them, make sure they breathe, and then I'll get the letter out, and then with their promise that they're going to give me what I need, and your promise that you're gonna give me what I need. We don't wanna lose the deal. We don't like to do it, but I will if I have to. So you're using it as a resource, for being the line of the legal society for the 8 years, I know.
Did we call you on the weekends?
Oh, yeah.
Text them, text them.
Text me preferred somewhere. Like when you texted me, I was actually at the Air Supply concert. So I was pre-gaming. Pre-gaming for our age folks, being pre-partying. Pre-gaming out.
And then we go to bed very early.
For the parents, it's pre-gaming, like, oh, yeah. And we used to go tailgating pre-party, but we don't anymore. Yes.
Quick question, do you have like your pre-qual, do you have, when you send it to us, can it be changed? In other words, like if you tell us the maximum that qualifies this, but we don't want to submit a letter that tells them that they can afford more because we're lowballing something? Is there something where we can go online and change it as long as it's below whatever the real number is?
if you tell me, I normally send a PDF.
Okay.
Only because I don't want it to float around and they come back changed, but if you call me and say, hey, Fred, I need a letter for, because I do have agents, they'll tell me, 310, 320.
Yeah, you don't wanna do 10 of them.
So then I'll give you the Word doc, and there's only one number you change, it's the purchase price, and then just save it, but when you send that out, after you get done with it, I like you to go out as a PDF. Cause I don't want
Right.
anybody else to change it.
Right.
So it depends on the
Makes sense.
person, and again, if we work together, I know who you are. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to, and it's our help you also. Yes.
Yeah, I used to be able to figure it out when I used to show property like by an agent, and I said, this is the payment much it's gonna be. Principal interest tax and insurance, can you give us like a little scenario if I say 7% interest? Why?
Old, we don't have a computer now. Back in the day, we could have. We had the HP. We had the HP calculator, right?
Right, I still have that one.
I have
I have an HP calculator on my phone.
Oh.
No, this is the old.
7% interest,
Which one?
so you get
Was it 12C?
2%
We had the 12C back in the day.
taxes. Right, 0% tax, and then you have the insurance, which is what, 0.5%?
You go to Google.
Yeah, Google has one.
Google has it, you can plug it in.
Okay. Everything.
No, I don't, I have a real one at home. See, I thought it was gonna be interesting, that way you can give them, like a little bit of.
Okay, we're short on time. Austin's gonna give us some business tips to grow your real estate business. And then we'll go around if anybody else has.
Why do I gotta go first?
Because you have the best idea.
You call the meeting.
Well, I didn't call the meeting, you called the meeting.
You called the meeting, okay, and I know that you're going to leave before the end of the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Legal update. So if anybody wants to stay after that, they're welcome to, but at 1 o'clock, we're going to do the Realty One Group update on the legal. Go ahead, Austin.
Okay, so I have 4 things that I wrote down. I kind of think of the easiest to explain. I'm not gonna go over, so I have a whole business strategy that I've shared a million times with people, and I feel like I'm not gonna go over that. It's something totally different. Because that requires calling and getting on the phones and getting yelled at and all that kind of stuff. This does not. And I know a lot of you don't like those cold calls, right? Some people don't. So, I mean, some people don't mind it, but this took me, Nick, how long did it take me to do this yesterday? Nick, by the way, Nick was there when all this happened.
Yeah, it was like awesome.
Yeah.
20 minutes maybe, is that?
So, with this, I'm gonna kind of go backwards. The result of this, I've gotten 3 actual listing appointments from him since yesterday. And about 3 or 4 leads, and I haven't even called anybody. So, and what I've kind of, you all probably heard of this, but have you anybody heard of Slide Broadcast? I've used it for years, but anybody ever heard of it?
I've heard of this.
Since yesterday, that's what I'll do that.
And I.
I just think they were illegal, to be honest.
The room, please.
Broadcast.
Slide dial is an app you can use for 1 by 1.
1 by 1.
But this is.
Live broadcast,
broadcast.
max amount.
SLI.
SLY.
Yes.
What was the name of that?
CAST. It was, so it cost me, which I use it for a lot of other things, whenever I'm listing, I'll broadcast the neighborhood, drop voicemails to the neighbors, stuff like that. But in this instance, you're using that, it costs $40 for, I think, 1,000 messages.
Wow.
So I know that'll break the bank, but $40, let me just swing that. And get
What do you go on for what?
1,000 messages.
You're putting it out. Is that?
Actually, maybe 50, it's 40 or 50.
Like a couple of years ago, everybody was talking about the little magnet that you can put on the light post. And it would broadcast within the football field radius.
This is you specifically put the phone numbers you want to put in. So you have to, so I use Vulcan 7, you can use what Remont has it, you can get these lists off a lot of different things, but what I did was I strategically targeted January 1st to March 1st expired, it's been canceled, that's been on the market for at least 30 days.
Remind?
No, well, whenever I spout off the list, I use Vulcan 7. So this is through Vulcan, but you can target this with a lot of other things, as long as you can figure out how to target it. Vulcan obviously works great.
It's on the market.
No, expired or canceled.
Expired, okay.
Expired or canceled.
Can cancel.
Yeah, so 30 days, at least 30 days in the market, because you have the ones that are like 3 or 4 days and they took it off the market. Those aren't really, you don't want, I don't mess with those. So 30 days in the market, between January 1st and March 1st. Now, you all know why I didn't go recent expires? Because they're getting blown up right now. They're pissed off. Those people got blown up, but now they're back to normal. They're kind of getting to that point where a lot of them said, I'm not selling it right now. I'm not even gonna answer these calls. It's overwhelming. So the ones I targeted were ones that hadn't sold yet, because Vulcan will pull out the people that relist. And then, well, they'll miss a couple every now and then, but they'll pull out the ones that's relisted, and therefore you'll just have people that are still haven't sold, that were on the market longer than 30 days. And what I did is I picked a price point that was, I done it from 300 and above. That was the price point that I put in. And then only single family homes. So I didn't do condos or whatever. So it came down and there was like 498, I think. What was it, Nick? I think it was like 498.
500, you think?
It's like 500. And I downloaded the list. I literally copied all the numbers, pasted them in the slide broadcast. And the voicemail that I recorded, which, you know what? Let me see if. Should I just play it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because let me just tell you, before the calls I've gotten back and the texts I've gotten back, I said, I responded to you because of the way you asked me.
It wasn't one take, which is pretty good. Which means, you know, we did one take.
I wrote it in notes and just, Nick was like, are you writing your script right now? I was like, yeah, I just want to do this real quick. I recorded it. I was like, how'd that sound? He's like, well, I would, and then he listened to it and he said, no, just keep it like that. I was like, screw it, extend it.
Yes.
Crazy.
And it ended up being a lot of the reason people call me back, but.
It's genuine, you just gotta be genuine. That's it.
So as this is loading, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you basically what the gist of it is. I called them and basically introduced myself, apologize, listen, I know this call's out of the blue and really sorry to even bother you. But the reason for my call is that, you know, recently there's been a lot of agents. I mentioned agents because I'm not gonna say I have a buyer, but I say I mentioned agents and other buyers that have reached out and asked if there's anything available in this neighborhood. And unfortunately, you know, other people have missed out on homes that are similar like yours. And that's true. There's people that miss out on homes like that all the time. And I said, so the reason for my call is I was just curious if you were you would be totally against an idea or even a conversation about possibly listing the home in the future. And it doesn't have to be now, it doesn't have to be anytime soon. But if there is, please give me a call back or send me a text, whatever you prefer. And then at the end, I added also, how did I say it? I said, I'm really sorry if this offended you, but just please remember, I'm just trying to feed my family and I hope you can respect that.
Oh, that's.
They love that. They ate that up.
Out there.
And
Seven kids, one needs an operation.
so, and then, so what I will say is I dropped it to 500 people. Now, I don't know if all these numbers are correct, no clue, but what I do know is that within an hour and up to till this day, I've gotten about 30 callbacks. I have not called them all back, but I've gotten 3 listing appointments from it for 3 different homes. And a few different ones that are like, hey, I'm redoing the home, whatever. I'm like, would you like for me to get you in touch with the contractor? One of the guys was one that I sent to Fred, because he's trying to redo his house. He's like, you can get me a hard money lender, it's yours to list it. I'm like, okay. So like, I'm working on a couple of those, and this all just came yesterday. Just from one call out to, I don't know how many people.
And Nick said since 5:30, it's like 4 o'clock. Since 4 o'clock. We'll do it back, yeah, we got it in the store.
Yeah.
I'll do anything awesome does.
Okay, this is the voicemail.
And I know this call is completely out of the blue, so please forgive me if I'm bothering you, but I'm actually a local realtor in the area. And the reason I'm reaching out is because I've had so many agents and buyers reaching out to me, asking if anything in your neighborhood was coming available anytime this year because they really want to be in this neighborhood. But as I was doing my search, I noticed that your home at one point was for sale. And I guess I'm just curious if you were completely against maybe the idea of selling this year. Because from what I see online, and what you were asking, I know the price you were asking is definitely possible, and actually even more because the market's increased. But yeah, I mean, if there's even the slightest to have just a simple conversation with you about it.
Hold on.
See if it's or not. Again, my name's Austin, so feel free to give me a call back or send me a text on this number if you prefer. And also, I'm really sorry if this message offends you in any way. I'm
¿Qué
really just
pasó?
trying to feed my family. I really
Ya te veo, ya.
But again, if this is any, you please give me a call back or text, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Have a good day.
I don't know how to send it.
On one take, are you kidding me?
Oh my
I kind of
God.
stumbled through it, and the thing is, I think it's the authenticity that
You
you
did
give to
something.
somebody. And these people want to sell it. They were getting so blown up by agents at the very beginning that all of them were like, we got so overwhelmed, we didn't want to talk to anybody. So the key is to finding
No.
that 3 to
Yes,
4
baby.
months. I would even go back, like Dora said, you can go back 5 years if you wanted to.
No.
And just change. it. But what I'm noticing is I used, what's
¿Quieres
that?
jugo de naranja?
What is that app we use? The
To leave a voicemail.
no. Sideline. There's an app called Sideline. You can use Google Voice. Google Voice is free. You can put that number as the one that leaves the message because you're gonna get a ton of callbacks. And so you don't want that. If you don't want that coming to your phone, I use a Sideline to do it. And then as they're calling me, I send them a message to say, hey, sorry, I can't talk right now. Leave me a message or send me a text, blah, 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 and I'll call them back when I sit down in the morning. Because if you're trying to answer every call, but the thing is once you get back in, you can search with that number and match it to whatever address you pulled the list from. And you can kind of, before you call them back, see what the home is, get a little bit of an idea. Because everybody that I talked to, I looked up their property first.
You're like,
And,
hey, Mark,
and-
what's up?
and educated myself about that neighbor before I even called them.
Yeah.
And then when I talked to him, like, oh man, yes, absolutely. Like this person was like, you know, we heard your voicemail and that's the reason we called you back. There was even some people that like, we're actually relisting with our other agent, but we still want to call you back just to let you know that like we loved, you know, your approach and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah. Some people have straight up sent me a text and hey, would love to talk to you about listing our home.
Yes.
I still haven't called those people back yet. I just can't right now. Like, I have too much going on, but. That's the one thing that right there, slide broadcast is huge right now. The next is something called bullseye prospecting, which you use this.
Before you move off of live broadcast, there are some people who don't know this. What happens is that call that's made to the other person bypasses them being able to pick it up. So it goes straight to their voicemail, slide broadcast. Yeah, it goes straight to their voicemail. They won't even hear a ring.
Yeah, wasn't that kind of
But
banned or
yeah.
something? Wasn't that an issue?
Do that?
Wasn't that? Go ahead.
Can't Vulcan just bypass, do a slide dial?
They're not associated with slide broadcast, but Vulcan, so like on a dialer, which is a good point.
Yeah.
Slide, if you're on a dialer, what happens a lot, cause I'll dial expires, and a lot of times, most of the time, it'll just cut off, it doesn't. So those people calling them all the time aren't even getting to their voicemail. They're just going to the next point, next person. So as a voicemail, you can bypass all of that, even the spam filters, and you go straight to the.
And you know what? When people see a number a lot of times, they call back anyway.
He said from Vulcan 7.
I've been doing that so many times. I don't care, yeah.
You can get all the expireds, you can get all the, Vulcan 7 gives you leads, you pay for it.
We'll talk after. I'll leave this one right now. So, I haven't even slept.
Andy's still there. Yeah. it's not great.
But so slide broadcast too, just another comment. Anytime you get a listing, drop voicemail to that neighbor
Yeah, that's a
about
good
the open
idea.
house, about the sales, about anything. I picked up one in St. Pete and Kenwood doing that. Because I was like, hey, you know, we just got multiple offers on this property, which goes into my next one called bullseye prospecting. So you don't even have to have a listing to do this. Okay, so if you go on the MLS and you find a property, whatever neighborhood you guys want to be in, and it's pending or it's sold and it had multiple offers. Because a lot of them will say, you know, highest and best by this time, or you can see if it was gone on the first day, it probably had multiple offers, right? So find a property, then circle that around on Vulcan or find it on Remine or whatever, and get the numbers. drop a voicemail the same way. You just say, hey, explain your name, sorry to bother you. You always want to come from a place of like, hey, listen, I know this call's out of the blue, I'm really sorry to bother you, but we just, this property on da-da-da, you want to reference the property, because then it's not, you're not really soliciting, you're letting them know that we as agents, we just got, there was multiple offers on this property. And, there were buyers that unfortunately missed out that are ready to buy in this neighborhood right now. So the reason I'm reaching out is because I'm just trying to connect a buyer to a seller, and if there's any interest in possibly selling, please give me a call back, or even if it's in the next 6 months. I always like to say there's some buyers ready now and some ready in the future, because then they're not, well, I'm not ready now, but I would in the future. So I always put that both in there, and then say, just give me a call back, even if there's a 1% slight interest in entertaining a possible offer, or listing the home or whatever. And if you do that constantly, every day, drop those voicemails in different bullseye prospecting areas and find certain listings, you will pick up listings like nothing else.
So in there, you put the phone number that you want the messages sent.
On Slide Broadcast, you will.
So what, have you done it like Lofty, where you put your Lofty number?
I don't have a Lofty number.
You
I don't pay for a Lofty number. I pay for Sideline. It's an app that you can pay for. He uses it too.
What is it?
Yeah, it's called Sideline. It's an extra app and it's extra number.
Sideline.
Sideline, sorry, my sideline. Oh, my eyes. I'm the same, sorry.
SIDELINE, you can pick the area code and they give you a number. It's $9.95 a month.
$14.95.
Is it? It went up?
It's totally worth it, because you can send videos, you can do all that stuff on there. It's legit like a control number.
Yeah, it's a real number. It
Yeah.
uses your mobile provider's carrier's line. It's not voice over IP.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a
It's
quality
not
better.
internet. The quality's better. It's not internet dependent. If your phone is working, your sideline would be working.
So Austin,
Okay.
do you have like a specific line, or is it like one of those ones where you can assign a line to tasks? Does that make sense?
On what? On
On the
Sideline?
sideline, like, do you just have one specific phone number, or is it like? There are cases where you have like different phone numbers.
Yeah, you
right?
can,
So
you can add in different numbers on Sideline. You can do multiple numbers.
And there's a team provision
There's a
for
team
it
on
too. So you could have somebody call and either you or Jake can answer it.
Yeah, it'll come to both your phones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whoever answers first gets it.
but I don't have a team or anything like that, so I just use it because of the reason of, you'll get some people every now and then they'll just get mad or whatever, don't even respond to this, like they're not gonna find it in that number.
Yeah.
And then once I speak to somebody, I say, hey, before we get off the phone, I just wanna let you know, I'm gonna send you a text from my personal number. This is a business line. I want you to have my personal number because I trust you,
Right.
and just send it that way.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, anybody here who has a non-813 or 727 number, I recommend that you add a sideline to it. And use the local number, because if I was a buyer or a seller looking for a local agent, you wouldn't be one.
You can also, if you have an offer, I think you can do it with Androids too, I'm not sure, but you can add another phone number to the same phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more expensive that way. It's like $30-40 a month.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But you just want to make sure it's not a Google number.
This is not a
Google
Google.
numbers, right?
No, that's the number for yours.
The real numbers, they're yours.
But to get started on the voicemail drops, if you guys didn't want to pay for it, Google numbers will still work for that, because you're collecting it. You can just call them back on your other number if you wanted to. But another thing too is whenever you're doing these voicemail drops, my voicemail on that sideline doesn't say I'm a realtor, it just says my name. Sorry I couldn't get to the phone, I'll call you back at my earliest convenience, or when I get an opportunity, or send me a text on this number. I always mention, please send me a text on this number for a faster response. A lot of times they'll text you after that. That's what you want.
And just as a footnote, Fred he had his up north number, right? He still does, but when he got a sideline number, he started using it and he realized he preferred the local number. So he's in the process, it's not easy, but he's swapping the local number and making the local number his phone number and making his old out-of-state number the sideline number.
Let's phase it out, say $15.
Yeah, so you can do it, the expires, cancels, bullseye, I like the bullseye a lot, because you can use that for anywhere, really you wanna go, you don't have to specifically do
Where's
expires.
bullseye at?
Bullseye prospecting, that's when you find the listing, that's, you're literally like, it's one that's been, was a hot listing that went multiple.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Use
Yeah,
that
yeah,
to
yeah,
call the
yeah.
neighborhood around it.
Yeah.
Cancel the filters, like the condition.
Oh, no, can't, that's conditional withdrawal, I don't do those, I just do cancel. and
So you
expire.
filter that.
Yeah, I filter all that out. So the next thing is a kind of the next thing is for buyers agents and stuff, but it's also you can get listings from it. And there's a part of this I wanted to ask you about, because I talked to Alex about it and he's like, I don't really know why that's a problem. So if you use expired or canceled or even the prospecting, something you can offer to say in the voice note, which I've done before, is listen, I'm not gonna ask you to list the property. If this is something that you would wanna handle off market, we can do that as well. Drop a voicemail like that in there and you'll get even more callbacks about it. Use that as your off market list for the buyers that you have. And then because you can start creating that. But what I was gonna ask you about is if you get it, I have a seller right now that said, hey, I would rather list with you, but we have a family friend that's an agent. I don't want her to know I listed it. They're like, so I would rather sell it. Is there any way that you could still sell it for us without listing it? So what I did was I circled in the MLS all of the areas that were basically the whole Pinellas County where I work. And the last 30 days of single family homes, I found the agent and the buyer's agent's email. And I copied them all and put them in a spreadsheet. And I can create a constant contact email and send them out this private listing and take off that agent that he wants me to take off. Is that legal?
Say that again now.
I just created a whole MLS in our county. Smart man.
Exactly, no, say that again, slowly.
So I found all the agents that's done business in the last 30 to 60 days that sold a single family home or had a buyer for it. Got all of their email addresses, copied them, put them inside of constant contact as a list.
Yeah.
Which is basically a market MLS.
Yeah.
And if I create a constant contact email, not putting the address out, more just photos and stuff that kind of an off-market opportunity, here's what it is, here's the pictures of it. I can't give you the contact, you call me directly and I send it out to the 10,000 agents that's over there in their email.
Right.
As long as you have the coming soon sign.
It's not being listed, it's not listed.
No, we have that.
There's no representation, but they don't know the address unless they contact me.
Doesn't matter whether it's listed or not listed, if you don't, I mean, I think you still have to have that. document.
What, have what?
I think we can, the coming soon document, what is that?
It's
Well,
not, there's no agreement to listing it. He's not listing it. They said, if you find a buyer for it, I'll even pay the other, 'cause I asked him, I say, hey, if a lot of these buyers have agents, would you mind, like, if there was another agent involved, could we work something out? And they're like, absolutely. Because a lot of these people are expired and canceled.
About this, so it's you
I
have
would send it
wholesalers
to that
out
broker,
there,
that
right?
You got the
That still
third-
does properties.
But we're allowed to do packet listing, right? So this is kind of the same thing.
This is something that wholesalers are looking for investors to flip the property, it's not
Correct.
market value. They're not, what we're doing is saying, hey, we'll send it out to all the agents in the area off market.
Yeah.
If they have a buyer, they'll contact me, we'll get together, they'll sign something for like a non-disclosure or whatever. And if they have the right buyer that likes all the photos in like area, we'll disclose the address to them.
And if everybody on the list, that's that one agent.
Except that one agent. Or if they're
But you're not including the agent originally listed.
because they asked me not to.
Okay.
There's.
Yeah, those are all kinds.
Now there's all
I just created an MLS system just from circling the area on the MLS and it gives you the buyer's agent's email and the listing agent email and constant contact will take out, if it's duplicate, they'll take that out. They won't send 2 emails.
But what if someone in their office says something?
Do they really care that much?
So
I'm
I
thinking-
They're not even gonna know the address.
If you had
I'm
called me,
thinking.
we could have
payroll
gotten you
firm.
a list of all the agents that have had a transaction in whatever time frame you want.
Well, you can do that in
search
MLS
too.
too.
No, but that's on the MLS, it's
You have a
huge
discussion
problem.
with the seller as to what their motivation exactly is, as to why they don't want this agent to know. And I
Because-
get it, I get that, but also, like, they're going to find out that they sold it at some point, right?
Well, they're
And
gonna,
so
he's saying he would do it privately. He's like, he'll just say, oh, I come across this agent and a buyer, da, da, da. But
So it could be next,
Or
because,
say by owner.
because the reality is they're gonna find out at some point.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
that's-
He just doesn't want her to know that I listed the
With
property.
another agent.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
And after like for sale by owner.
Commission agreement.
If it's
Yeah.
not listed, you don't have
You don't
an
have the
exclusive
regulations,
buyer
yeah.
brokerage agreement,
Right.
doesn't have to go in the MLS. If it's listed, it can't be marketed that way.
But it won't
If
be
it's
listed.
listed with an exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, clear cooperation, even after July first, you have to give the other agents a chance to buy or sell
This
that
is
house.
similar to wholesaling, whatever y'all said without,
Yeah.
so, but it's market value, right? So you're actually finding somebody to pay market value for it. And it's just like the homeowner saying, hey, send it out, try to find a buyer. I just happen to have all the agents' email that I send it out to.
I just accidentally stumbled across them.
Yeah, and I have that to send out, and if anybody shows interest, then they will call me and we can work out details.
We're gonna have to kick Dee out.
That's hard.
Oh, wow.
But imagine having all of that.
So
You have the
it's
agents
like
email.
you're paying a finder's fee.
Right,
Can you
So
send
are
them
they
the link
paying?
so they can do their own?
they're paying both sides. They just don't wanna list it.
So you don't have an agreement?
Hey, everybody.
No agreement.
Well, let me say one more thing.
Yeah, you can
have an
agreement.
But a lot of people are like, oh my god, but they didn't list with somebody else, yes, but nobody else knows about this listing.
It's a bucket listing.
It's basically a pocket.
It's a pocket. You should have an agreement with them, non-exclusive.
Yeah,
So I have.
That if you bring in a buyer, they're gonna pay.
But it's a bucket listing, so technically. Not exclusive.
if you do that to expire and cancel, they will call you and say, yes, you found me something off market. And I'll
Yeah,
probably pay you,
yeah,
and if there's another
see.
agent, because they've already done it once, they'll pay both sides once.
Right.
Yeah, they just don't wanna be tied up. But if you take a buyer, then
And if you wanna take it a step further, you wanna meet with these people and get a matter